Guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Doshi, and today we are here with Brandon at Retro Junk here in Manchester, Connecticut, right? Okay,
Yes, sir.
These names are weird out here. But my brother, thanks for having us in your store.
Anytime, man. It's a pleasure.
I was quoted, this is the best game store in the state.
I mean, I'm glad that's how people feel. I wouldn't give myself that title, but it's cool to hear for sure.
See how humble he wants to be? He knows it. Deep down, he knows he's the best game store. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, bro, I took my walk around here and the store is incredible, and I would, appreciate if you can walk us through it. Off rip, this is the front lobby, right? When you walk in front of the doors, you see TVs immediately. This brisk R2D2, right?
Yes,
and it's kind of like immediately that retro vibe. You see the arcade machines. What kind of setting did you want to provide for the clientele that are walking past the store?
Dude, so I've loved this stuff my whole life. I'm all about the nostalgia factor, That's what draws you in. It takes you back to the good times in your life. So it really starts with my signage out front. I'm a big Ninja Turtles fan, so I use the Ninja Turtles font for the store, and that draws people in. I constantly get people driving by, they're like, oh, we had to stop, we saw the sign. Then when you come in the front room, all the pinball machines and arcade machines really catch the eye. It gets people instantly. So I really just wanted that feeling that you were at home. You know what I mean?
Right.
It takes you back to your childhood, that Christmas morning feeling or being at your grandparents' house. You know what I mean? So that's really what we go for. I love the VHS wall. That's super nostalgic for a lot of people. But yeah, that's really the vibe we're going for. Just feeling like home.
And can you tell us a story behind these two things right here? Because having a motorcycle in the lobby isn't really a common thing, right?
Yeah, so the R2D2 was from a buddy of mine. That was a gift, and it's just one of those perfect things. Once again, it draws people in, they see it, and they can't help but come in and see what the rest of the store is all about. The motorcycle is cool. It's a 1969 Triumph. So my buddy Dustin, who does natural selection in the back, this belonged to his father. And his father used to race it. All these pictures on the wall are his dad on his bike.
Oh, wow.
So his thing was he would rather have it out where people can see it instead of buried in his garage. And once again, it's another conversation starter. People see it and they want to come in and ask questions and know what we're about. So
that's pretty badass, actually. And in honor of what his father used to do, that's pretty cool, right?
Exactly.
That is really dope. I'm surprised I've been for free stuff.
Yeah. I'm always reloading that. Whether it's stuff that just doesn't move in the shop, or I'll buy a big lot of toys from someone and stuff that I think might not sell so well but kids would enjoy or whatever. So yeah, people come in and I'm constantly filling that every week with different stuff.
And that helps you avoid hoarding, right? Because
unfortunately still a hoarder, but
you would see business owners marking anything at a price point, right?
Right.
And it was just like, why would somebody want to buy that?
Correct.
It's just like you could tell that the owner is just trying to pinch every single item for every single
That's
penny.
A great point. Yeah, I never thought of it like that. And yeah, it's just one of those things that it's definitely stuff that people would still want. I mean, Spawn action figures and Pez, like kids love. Like I could sell
That's pretty dope.
I could sell this stuff, but it's one of those things I'd rather it just go make someone happy.
No, it's definitely generous of you to do. The arcade machines, these are actual vintage?
So the only one that's not vintage is this one, but this is original, 1982. This was the first one I bought. Found this on Facebook Marketplace locally. The newest one, like newest to us in the shop, is the Mortal Kombat 2. I got that one last month, end of December. But yeah, they're all vintage, except the Turtles pinball is actually more current as well. It's 2020, but yeah, the goal is to eventually, we're going to keep adding machines. So eventually the machine will go here, and then I'm going to remove these two racks from here, and we're going to do like another row probably of 6 machines back to back. So this room is going to constantly being added onto.
So slowly you're just trying to convert this into like an entire arcade, right?
Little arcade, people to hang out. It keeps people around longer, pop a couple quarters in, and yeah.
Right, so I do see that the sign up there says quarters available at front counter, right?
Yep.
Would you consider getting these like as like a good investment for your business? Or
I
is it
mean,
more so of like an attraction to get people to shop
a
inside your
little bit of
store?
both. I really didn't think about the money aspect because I mean, it takes a while. It adds up over time, but it's
Mm,
quarters. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So, unless we're doing serious volume, like some of these barcades and stuff that are popped up, they make good money on their machines because they do a lot of volume. But right now, it's more of an attraction. Like some people come in and don't even know what we're about and end up staying for an hour playing pinball. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
I mean, your store just opened up. You just had like 2 people playing the games while we were out there
exactly,
looking.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
and you just opened your doors probably like 10 minutes prior.
Yeah, and that was actually very cool because it was a first person who's never played pinball before. So it was their first time being introduced, which is another reason why we do it.
Yeah, I growing up, I used to play the Pac-Man Galaga arcade machine. So like even if it's just Pac-Man alone, it kind of brings that nostalgia factor back. For
Yeah,
sure.
I mean, you're from New York, so I'm sure they had these in like pizza spots,
Every
and
laundromat, yeah,
laundromats, pizza
yeah,
spots, bowling alleys. Yep,
yeah.
exactly.
That one hit. Your VHS, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Do you get these often traded in? Do you like hunt for these, source them?
So VHS is one of the few things in the shop that we don't buy. They're all donation.
Mm.
So yeah, those are all donated by the public, and we charge $2 across the board for VHS.
Oh,
So,
really?
So if it's rare, if it's whatever, that's why you gotta. My regulars will come in often to check because they know, like, even the good stuff, it goes fast because $2. That's it.
Wow, that's nice. That's yeah, because you would assume that everything would probably be a little price different, right? For you, it's like it reminds me of like a flea market booth. Everything's the same price per unit.
Yeah, for some things for sure. So CDs, DVDs, and VHS are all $2. All $2 across the board.
That's pretty dope.
Even like, there's shops that upcharge horror VHS tapes because they're super popular. But I just rather them go to someone who will enjoy them. I don't need to make money on every little thing in the shop.
And the market is coming back for the VHS and the DVDs. So
Yeah, people are grading them, and it helps us because big box stores are doing away with physical media. So, Walmart and Target and Best Buy, they're getting rid of all that.
which is the advantage for you.
Right.
Everyone's gonna come in here to shop with you.
Correct.
Before we move on to the next room, I wanted to ask you, what did you do before you decided to start reselling?
So my family owns a sporting goods store in town. It's been here for 70 years. I worked for them, and I actually worked for a before and after school program for like 12 years. So initially, I had started going to school for elementary education, and then decided that wasn't for me.
It's a very different,
very different
career
very
path,
different.
right?
And now I have my own kids, but I don't think I could handle 20, 30 at a time anymore.
Yeah.
Times have changed too much.
What really inspired the idea for your store? Like what made you like grow the passion for
So
this?
like I described with nostalgia already, it's already all this stuff has a special place in my heart. I'm still just a big kid, man. I'm 37 years old, but I still have, I guess a lot of it starts with my mother, man, because she's the best. I have everything from my childhood. Toys, Pokemon cards, video games. I put my kids in my old Ninja Turtles and Power Rangers t-shirts that I wore as a kid. It really stemmed from that. And then, I used to tag sale and flea market with my mother and my grandmother growing up. And then as I got older and got a job and had adult money, I started buying things that either had gotten lost over the years or that I never had a chance to own. And then, it got to the point where I'm like, well, I have this basement full of stuff because you know how collecting works. If someone's selling a whole collection or a lot of stuff and you can get it for a good deal, you buy the whole thing,
Yep.
keep the stuff you want, and then resell the other stuff to keep the collection going. And that's really how I started. So I found my first location for a stupid good deal. And I literally saw the for rent sign, called the owner. He told me the price. I was like, I'll call you right back. I called my wife. I was like, I'm going to do this. And she was like, if you think that's what you want to do, go for it. And that's it, man. Now we're here.
That's pretty dope, yeah, for sure. That's kind of like the trend. A lot of resellers start off as collectors.
Yeah, for sure.
I could tell, like, what is it? Selling what you're passionate about already makes everything worth the while, right?
It does. You see how many people these days are just on social media complaining about how much they hate their job. And I don't. I'm happy to come here every day. Even if, obviously the point is to make money, but if not a single customer walked through that door today, I'm cool, man. I find stuff to do around the shop. I'm surrounded by stuff that makes me happy. So it is what it is.
This place is such a vibe, bro.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
First room is pretty fire. We could take a look at the second one.
Of course, yeah, let's go. Everything's constantly changing. I literally put out new inventory every day. I'll show you guys the mess, but if you want to look in here quick, you could. That's the I try to keep it organized, but every time I buy a new lot, it kind of just has to get shoved in there quick. But
wow,
yeah, all those
a bunch of consoles in the corner, Anthony. Yeah. If you want to get those,
I mean, look up on these shelves right here. There's tons of boxed consoles. The plastic drawers back there are all action figures and accessories.
That's crazy.
I feel like every business owner has a room like
yeah,
this.
yeah.
Everyone, yeah.
I'm just glad I could hide mine behind a door.
Cruz has his in his house. So.
Yeah, I've been there. Yep. His basement's dope though.
Yeah, that one was pretty dope. His collection is crazy.
Sure is. So,
I see that. Yeah, you have the DVDs right here, right? The VHSs were over there.
Yep.
You have a bunch of loose toys. So for a store like this, right? You have a little bit of everything. What's the most traded in item that comes into the store?
It's got to be video game stuff.
Video games.
Yeah, followed by the toys. But yeah, video games by far.
And do you identify your store as a game store or just like all around there? Like, what would you like categorize your store as?
Just collectibles, hobby shop. I don't really classify it in any specific genre because, like you said, it's a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
I advertise it as your one-stop nostalgia shop. So that's it. It's just anything, like I said, that just brings you back to good memories. That's pretty much what I deal in. Comic books, Pokemon cards. But yeah, the video games are both the most traded in and the most sales probably come from video games.
Which is usually the most uncommon stuff to get, or would you say that the toys are a little bit more uncommon?
It really depends. There's certain things within the toy and video game categories that come in often, like the more common stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, it's that harder to find stuff is what you don't see as much coming through the door. But every once in a while, you get surprised, man. I was over the summer. There was a guy I've known for a long time who does cleanouts. He works for a cleanout company.
Okay.
He brought me in, I think it was 65 complete in-box Super Nintendo games that look like the guy maybe opened them once. Like all the maps, all the posters, just pristine everything. And those are the days you get excited about. That's why even if it's dead business-wise, I come down here and do all my restocking and stuff, and then if one of those deals happens to walk through the door, it makes your whole week. You know what I mean?
Correct.
So,
yeah, it makes all of it worth it. Do you have any employees here, or you're a one-man show?
Yeah. So yeah, I even bring my 2-year-old here with me on Wednesdays. He's my little work buddy, but straight up, I don't like to share my money. I'd rather be here and put in the work myself. I mean, I make my own schedule. If I have to close for a day, I have to close for a day. If one of the kids is sick, or if I want to take a vacation, I close and go on vacation. So the good thing is having Dustin. So like, if I need to step out or whatever, he can at least keep an eye on the shop.
Okay.
While I'm out, and vice versa. I can watch his stuff and check people out for him and whatnot. But yeah, no, aside from having him back there in his own space, it's just us two.
Yeah, it's actually crazy, right? So first on the channel, this is the biggest space that has just the owner working at the space and having 2 individual rooms. I mean, like, would you consider it like a little overwhelming? Is it like a little hard to keep up with everything, all the prices, trade-ins?
It's usually, overall, it's not overwhelming. If we have, Saturdays are our busiest day by far, and it does definitely get a little crazy. Or if they do events downtown. We have Cruising on Main Street in the summer, which is a big car show, and there's thousands of people down here. But luckily on those days, have you ever met Alex, Cruz's buddy Alex? Did you meet him at the con?
I feel like
he was helping Cruz, I believe, at the con. He's in these pictures over here. Where is he? This dude, Alex.
Yeah. Yep.
So if they're having events or something downtown, that's one of my good friends. He comes and gives me a hand and just takes care of customers while I'm running around like a madman. But yeah, so luckily I got a good support system if I need the help, but on a regular basis, it's just me.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But honestly, like the way everything looks, because the store wasn't like this at all before you got it, right? Nothing like it.
No, it was a dog groomer, man. So that front room was literally just their lobby with a desk where they would check people in. This door was never open, so that's why, like you said, it's way bigger than you expected because no one ever went beyond that door. This room was all grooming tables where they would, cut the dog's hair, and then the back was all kennels and wash tubs to clean dogs. So it's much different from what it used to be.
It's crazy. And did you like envision like the layout of the store in your head, like when you first got it?
Dude, it's one of those things where you're laying in bed at night and the gears are constantly turning and you're like, where can I put this? How could I change things to make it more streamlined, to make it more visually pleasing? But it's also one of those things where I'm constantly moving stuff around, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And working with different layouts. And right now, this is what works. I'm working on getting out of Funko Pops because I'm over it.
Same.
And I've noticed
I've been there.
I've noticed the decline in interest and decline in sales in the Pops. And I have much more actual like vintage or retro inventory that I'd rather have. So I'm going to get rid of the Pops and then probably replace these with something different here. They're not my favorite displays, but they serve their purpose right now. But yeah, it's always changing.
Yeah, Funko Pops aren't really they don't move. I used to, like, before video games, I used to try to sell Pops. Biggest mistake I've ever done.
No shade to Funko, because as a company, I love them. I've been buying Funko since 2011, but it's just one of those things. I feel like they kind of hurt themselves. They overproduced everything, so nothing's rare anymore, and just is what it is, unfortunately. But that's how that stuff goes.
Yeah, it's a big it's an investment that it's unfortunate that you have this many Pops and they just don't move, right?
Yeah. They do really well during the holidays, and essentially that's about it. And then I'll sell one or two a week. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just taking up a lot of retail space that could be used for stuff that actually sells. That's all.
No, I understand that for sure. This wall is dope.
I love my turtles.
This one is super dope. Are any of these vintage at all, or are they like more modern?
This
releases?
Stuff is pretty much all modern. I certainly prefer vintage, but I like to have a little mix. So a lot of these NECA sets actually came out of my personal collection that I slimmed down. I told myself when NECA first started releasing turtles, I was like, I'm not gonna buy them. And then of course the first one I saw in Target, I was like, I need to have it. So
they look good.
They're so nice. But I ended up bringing a bunch of my stuff here, and I'm a big Michelangelo fan, so I kept all the Mikey stuff and brought the rest down here. But yeah, once again, all these displays are constantly changing. I have a lot of space I need to fill today. I have a bunch of vintage turtles I have to fill this with.
Yeah, a lot of Lucy's for sure. Did as a store, would you like say that you consider the Lucy, like you sell the Lucy's pretty often, or is it like it's like catered to very specific people?
Very specific people for sure. I mean, there's collectors of both complete in box or mint on card and loose, obviously. It's all about price point, really. I mean, stuff in package that's vintage is not cheap for the most part. This is the stuff that's usually more affordable and easily attainable for people with a budget. Kids like the loose stuff. And obviously hardcore collectors do too, but like myself, I'm not really an in-package guy for the most part. Certain things I want in box, but most of the stuff I'm cool with just being loose.
And a lot of times the boxes wouldn't be like in good condition, right? So it doesn't really like look like it's as sellable as it would just be alone loose, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's been instances where I've gotten like mint on card figures, but the card is trash. So I literally, people are probably gonna get mad at me for this, but I open it and put the clean figure out instead of putting a crappy looking package on the shelf.
Yeah, I'd rather not get a crappy looking package on my shelf, right?
Exactly.
I understand why you did that. No shame in that. Gotta make it look good, right? You gotta, in the end, you gotta make your money to sell it.
Exactly.
So yeah, you have a great selection of games here. A lot of box games for sure. I'm actually, so earlier, for context, I was surprised at his price for the GameCube. He has his GameCube with an original controller for $95, bro.
I know. Like I said, what did I say when you said that to me?
That's cheapest I've ever seen it in any store.
Yeah, most price points are at about 120 or more for a GameCube, for a Super Nintendo, for an N64. I sell all three of those for 95 with one controller and the hookups.
Crazy, $95. And like, yeah, right. So as a business, right, how do you make this sustainable, right? Because a lot of places overcharge because of their overhead. They blame their overhead, they blame their utilities, employees, right? How do you, as a store this size, kind of like handle that situation of like keeping everything at market and still, creating enough money to keep the place open?
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit. I'm not going to give people my
No,
details,
of course not.
So really, I'm lucky. I was born and raised right here in Manchester. My family has deep roots here. My grandfather was the mayor at one point.
Oh, wow.
So it helps to know a lot of people in town. So this ties into the fact that my landlord is another townie. He's a guy who's been here his whole life, and he was just happy to see both Dustin and I, who were born and raised in Manchester, be the ones to move into the shop. His family's owned the building for a long time, and he takes a lot of pride in it. So he's happy to see someone with the same mindset as him and who's grown up here. So that being said, we are extremely lucky with how reasonable our overhead is. And because of that, we are then able to pass that on to our customers in the form of lower prices. Because I don't have to pay as much out of pocket to be here, so I don't have to charge people as much to stay here.
And as stupid as it sounds, right? Comment section, don't roast me for this, but like, if you find yourself ever like struggling, right, for like trade-ins for games, would you ever consider marking them a little higher because of the low amount of availability? Like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, to keep the store open, would you ever like be worried about something like that happening?
I don't think like that, if I'm gonna be honest with you.
No.
I take things one day at a time. If it gets to the point where I have to make those decisions, I'll make them then. You know what I mean? I can't say what I'm going to do a week from now, or none of us know what the market could change tomorrow. Something could happen with the economy. I don't know. So right now I'm going to keep doing what works until it doesn't work anymore, and then figure it out, man. That's how I've always been. I'm a very high anxiety human, so I try not to, let stuff like that get to me, because it just makes things worse.
No, of course. You gotta keep yourself level-headed, make the smart choices and decisions. But yeah, your prices are phenomenal, bro.
I appreciate that.
At market, as it should. New York would never.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a whole different life in the city, man. You know that.
And everything is priced. Everything is clear in front. You want to see a sticker in the front top right corner. You have to like really peek in there. All the spines have their designated prices. So
that's the hardest thing for me to keep up with, man. Having everything priced and current, and
right, doing it by yourself, especially, right?
Yeah, and like the other day, what game I had? Pop Full Mail for Sega CD, which is a high dollar game, and I mean, once again, going back to me not having employees, I do everything, so I don't have time to go through and look at what prices are where every other week, because it fluctuates like the stock market.
Yep.
So the guy who bought Pop Full Mail got a great deal, because we were just talking about it when he was going to buy it, and I had it priced like $460, and we looked on price charting, it's up to like $580. So he got a crazy deal on a hard to find game, and I'm cool with that. I mean, I know what I paid for it, and when I bought it, that price was fair. So I wasn't going to be like, oh no, you got to pay what price charting says now. So that's how it goes. But
I mean, you still made your money no matter what, right?
Exactly.
Because that was the original price you had it for. So
Right.
if you made that amount of money anyway, you wouldn't be upset about it.
And you make a customer happy. Now that guy will come back and spend more money here because he got a high dollar game for like $100 less than its current value. So
Yeah.
it is what
And
it
he'll
is.
probably come back, of course, to do future deals with you, right? Because
Exactly.
that just makes you look better as an
Yeah,
owner.
correct.
Instead of like, oh man, the price isn't updated. Let me change it right on the spot.
I won't name.
Actually.
Yeah, exactly. I won't name the store. It is here in town. It's a card store, not a game store. But I was literally looking at like their boxes of Pokemon cards, different sets, and as I'm looking at a product right in front of me, the owner came and changed a sticker, put a higher price right in front of my face, and I was like, "That's great business. I am never coming back here."
Yeah, a lot of greed in the air, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Like I understand, like if it's like a significant amount, right? You would change your prices to keep up with the market, but I feel like, I mean, to each his own, right? Comment section, to each his own, but like
that's just bad business, though. I get it.
Yeah.
Do what you got to do, but I'm literally staring at the
he
product.
sees that you're interested.
You
in
reach
that
in
item,
front of me
yeah.
and raise the price, and expect me to buy it from you. That's
he
crazy.
was probably thinking you were gonna buy it for that price. Yeah.
Crazy.
That's wild, bro. That Hello Kitty.
That's
Dreamcast,
crazy too. Yes.
What's the story behind that? Because that was
clearly
a Japanese exclusive.
It's a Japanese exclusive. They made that one and a baby blue one. Only one I've ever seen in person. That's been here. It's been here a couple months. Everyone loves it. So it's a great conversation starter in the shop. And someone will come in and snag it one day because it's too cool not to. But that was a walk-in. So someone came in, a first timer. They were looking around the store and then they're like, oh, I have this Hello Kitty Dreamcast with the keyboard and everything at home. Is that something you'd be interested in? So sure enough, a couple weeks later, they came back with it. It's a very cool piece.
Yeah, dude, that's pretty sick. Yeah, it's my first time seeing that. I've never heard of that one before. So
the JVC XI is pretty crazy too.
Never seen that either.
JVC XI, a lot of people, it's super obscure. A lot of people don't even know what it is, but it plays both Sega Genesis and Sega CD games. I got that from, there's a gentleman that lives here in Connecticut about an hour away. He was like a 35, 40 year collector and he was putting his house on the market to move to Georgia. So literally went to his house and filled 2 separate times and we filled a U-Haul van each time at his house. The first one was all video games, console, everything video game related in one U-Haul van. And the second van was all vintage toys and starter jackets and everything else. So he had almost every console ever made complete in box, plus other obscure loose stuff like that. The Jaguar CD came from him. A lot of the stuff up there, the different 3DO consoles.
Power Glove is so dope. The Neo Geo X is so dope. Yeah, dude.
And that was over the summer, so a lot of that stuff has already sold off too. But it was insane the amount of stuff that came out of his house.
What would you say is the most expensive item in your store?
Right now, video game wise, it's probably the TurboGrafx with the TurboGrafx CD attachment that's over there. That's pretty up there in price. Or if we're talking game wise, Mega Man 8 is up there for Saturn. It's like a $600 game. I did just sell, I had a sealed copy of Pokemon Leaf Green.
Sealed?
Yeah.
And you didn't grade it?
No, it's not my thing. It's not my thing.
Wow.
It's, once again, I'm not greedy. I know it would have increased the value, but it is what it is.
I'm sure Buddy who bought it graded it for sure.
Oh, he told me that's what he was doing.
Oh, was he?
Yeah. Yep,
yeah, I was gonna say for something like that, I wouldn't even pass up the opportunity to get something like that graded. Right?
Yeah, and that's one of those things that I bought for a good deal years ago and had it at home in my stuff for a while, and then I brought it here and it sat here for probably 6 months, and then someone snagged it. So I'm cool. Once again, I made my money. If someone wants to go grade it and try to make more, they can do that.
Yeah, you gave someone an opportunity for an investment.
And then I don't know, toy wise. This 12-inch Princess Leia from the 70s, she's sealed. She's probably like $500-600.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I guess nothing super crazy. I guess $500 or $600 for a doll is pretty crazy, but
this is the biggest 3DO catalog I've seen.
Everyone says that sees it. So that came from that same guy, the guy with the 2 U-Haul vans that I filled at his house. He had, I think he was maybe 6 games short of a full run for 3DO. Yeah. It had Plumbers Don't Wear Ties and everything. Usually you see like that right there in 3DO at a store.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. And do people actually like shop for that? Like, or is it just like one of those like it just sits there for a while?
Well, crazy story. A lot of it sits. I have 2 guys that have come and bought like a good sized stacks of games at a time, like chunks of the 3DO collection. And then a guy came in last weekend and we were talking about the 3DO and he was like, oh, I'm part of a group for 3DO, and he was taking pictures and posting them to his group. And it's crazy because his daughter came up and she was like, oh, did you tell him? And he was like, oh, I'm one of the only like developers of 3DO stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool. Yeah, it's pretty cool. You don't expect that stuff.
No, a developer coming into your store, right?
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Speaking of people who come in this shop, before I mentioned this in another video, but when I was in the old shop, it was still during COVID, so people were masked up and all that. But Sheamus, the wrestler,
Oh yeah,
came in the shop. He bought an Elton John record.
that's pretty sick, bro.
Yeah, he was here for an event in Hartford, and yeah, that was pretty neat. We've had a couple professional skateboarders come through, because they come through town when they tour in the summer. But yeah, it's always crazy to see who comes in.
Have you to advertise the store? How do you go about that, right? Like, how do you get people who don't know about your store to come in?
It's pretty much all social media. I mean, Instagram and Facebook are huge because it's free and the reach is pretty limitless if you think about it. I mean, I've even had people come in who have seen other people post about the shop on Reddit. I've had people who come in and do videos and then put them on YouTube, and people come in from that. But I'd say the majority is social media advertising for sure.
Yeah, that's just about everyone else, right? Social media is just such a utility, right?
Exactly.
And I'm sure you have a following enough to
Yeah.
that people would share at different game stores, content creators, things like that.
Yeah,
So
and it always helps.
naturally-
Yeah, it always helps when guys like you come in because it's a whole new audience that is being introduced to the shop. So it's great.
I know you from Retro Rick's video.
Yeah,
that was the first time I
exactly, yeah.
saw you when you came here, like 2 years ago, I'd say.
Yeah,
Was
2
2
summers
years?
ago. Yep.
And that Flintstones right there, you offered him the Flintstones.
Yes.
That's not the same copy, right?
It's not. That came in recently. So the one that I offered Rick ended up at home with me. It's in my collection. And then that came in probably about a month ago. It was actually a guy from Brazil who wanted a bunch of the Sega CD stuff, higher end Sega CD stuff and I was cool with it because it had been here for a while. So I was like, yeah, sure. I'll take the rare NES game for a stack of Sega CD stuff.
And you own 2 copies of Flintstones.
I do. Right now I do.
That is a crazy feat, bro.
I mean, it is crazy because I don't even think about it like that. But yeah, it's super hard to find. And I feel like even at what I have it priced at, I feel like that's still reasonable. I see people trying to get 15, 16.
Yeah.
And not to throw shade at Rick, but I think he paid 18 for his, which is he's the one who said it in his video. So he was kind of upset because I offered it to him for way less than he paid for the other one. But
just depends. I guess, heat in the moment.
Exactly.
It's like, I need it. That's it. It's like
it was at a
chance.
con, so it was priced accordingly.
I don't think he would wait till the summer for Retro World for him to come back over here to buy it, right?
Right, exactly. I totally get it. But yeah, it's crazy. And that's here. It's for sale or trade. So if anyone's got cool stuff and wants Flintstones, come and get it.
Yeah, come and get it. 1,200. 1,200. That's the best number I've seen on that game so far. Like you said, every con is like 14, 15, 16 at most, usually. So you do have Pokemon cards here, right? You do get slabs. How well do the Pokemon cards do here at the shop?
It's probably my second most in sales comes from cards. Right now it's super hard for little shops like me. It's super hard for me to get. I mean, all I have is Scarlet and Violet base packs right now for sealed product. Very hard to get sealed product for smaller shops. The allocations are crazy. Like for Prismatic, the newest set that just came out, I got 0 allocation. And that's just because allocation goes to the big shops with big accounts who have been around for years.
Right.
So
usually the requirements are like you have to make like over 500,000 a year and stuff like that.
Or I have to buy stuff like this that nobody wants in order to get better stuff. Like I had to buy a bunch of League Battle decks so I could get 151 and Surging Sparks booster bundles. So essentially you just got to build up your account and buy a bunch of crap to get good stuff.
Well, hopefully eventually the prices rise, right? Pokemon usually always rises, so
it's crazy right now, to be honest with you, but I do well with singles, so I'll buy collections from people. I like buying vintage stuff more, but kids love the modern singles. So even in this book, a lot of stuff is just like $2 or $3, but that adds up, so it's cool.
And lastly, for this room, those posters are real dope, by the way.
Yeah, they're all original game posters that came either out of the games themselves or Nintendo Power magazines. And I constantly add. I got a couple. Let's see what I got over here. Constantly add to the wall. So we got to put up the. Which one is this? Let's see. The Golden Axe 2 needs to go up. I think this one's Clue. Yeah. And the Clue needs to go up.
You glue them on, or I don't see staples or.
They're like little poster squares.
Oh, I see.
You put in the corners.
Nice. And this little corner right here, is this for you or for customers?
Well, when it's not a mess, anyone can sit there. This is usually where I sit and clean consoles and replace batteries in GBA games and go through new inventory and price it. And that's why it's usually a little bit of chaos in this corner because stuff piles up. This is pretty cool. Do you know the movie Holes? Disney movie Holes? No? You gotta know Holes.
No, well, it sounds familiar.
Your viewers are about to go in on you for not knowing Holes.
Damn.
So, anyways, in the movie Holes,
I'm gonna look it up right now. You can go ahead though.
Oh, that's crazy. Anyways, the movie Holes is classic, and if you haven't seen it, you better go home and watch it. But there's a character Zero in the movie.
I know this movie.
Are you sure? Or you just saying that?
No,
so
I've seen the poster. I've seen the cover before. I never watched it, but I know what you're talking about now.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
Come
I'm
on.
sorry, bro.
Anyways, there's a character Zero in the movie played by Cleo Thomas, and this is a mystery box I'm putting together to send to him. He's gonna open it on his Instagram. Yeah. So he's gonna get a Retro Junk mystery box from here to open on his channel.
And that's exposure as well. So
Exactly.
that's pretty dope. Yeah, that's a great way to market.
It is.
That's a great way to market.
Especially when you have a lot of vintage stuff that you can spare.
Right. It's specific. It's very specific. So you might as well give something.
Yeah, I'm curating it specifically for him. So I'm not going to hold up anything because I don't want him to see what he's getting if he happens to come by this on my channel. But I asked him for a couple ideas of things he was into. And then I just kind of snooped on his Instagram to see what his personal taste was and putting the box together for him. So we'll see how that goes.
That's pretty dope. We can walk to the last room in the back.
Yeah, we can talk.
I know it's not.
We can sneak up on Dustin and make him talk on camera about his business. Come on, you can just watch him work.
So this is the last room of the store.
Yeah, so technically Dustin and I are two different businesses. I run Retro Junk and he does Natural Selection Vintage. He curates an awesome shop full of sweet vintage clothing.
Some would say.
Some would say, yeah. So a lot of cool vintage t-shirts, all sorts of stuff, vintage denim.
And you two having separate businesses creates that attraction for any shopper. So someone will be coming here for video games, but then they'll walk back here and find something that they want to buy here too. So
that's exactly correct.
It's good that two businesses are working together.
Yeah, I mean, we both fall under the retro and vintage category, so we just figured why not join forces and cover that much more market. It's worked out really well for us so far. This is cool. This kind of falls under both categories.
Oh,
yeah.
That is.
The old Acclaim jacket.
What's the story behind that?
It's probably an employee jacket. I couldn't find any information at all about it online, so I don't think it was something that was like mass produced. I think it was just for employees. They probably made a handful of them, and now there's one of them here.
What's the price tag on that?
I mean, depending on which way how I'm feeling that day. If you had $200, I'd be pretty stoked about that. So.
That's a sweet jacket.
Dude, that is sick. You gotta love those special ones. That's my first time seeing anything like that. That's pretty dope.
Exactly.
I won't see another one anytime soon.
No, I might splurge a little bit.
It looks like it's probably about your size too. I'm gonna be honest with you.
That's dope, bro. Yeah, man. Yeah, the shop is phenomenal, bro. And do you plan on expanding anytime soon?
The goal is to eventually own the building. I don't know how soon that will be, and it's not definite, but that's the goal. So at that point, we'll have to make some decisions because we'll have a whole nother floor to work with. And like I said, whether we want to personally expand to that space or rent it out to help cover our expenses, we'll have to cross that bridge when it comes. But yeah, I mean, we're always looking to move forward and better ourselves. So we don't want to stay stagnant. So I guess we'll see what happens in the next couple of years.
And do you by any chance sell online, or is it only just here?
So mostly just in the shop. I got tired of the headache and the fees and the dealing with people who claim that what I sent to them isn't what I advertise and want to do returns. And I don't have time for any of it. Yeah. So especially, like I said, I run the shop myself. So
it's a lot. Yeah, it's way too
to add a whole online shop with the shipping and packing and all that, I will, if I have harder to find or rare stuff, I'll bring it to the shop for a little while. If it doesn't move, I'll either throw it on eBay or I'll use specific collector groups on Facebook. Like, you know, if it's that Star Wars figure, I'll put in a vintage Star Wars group and sell it that way to try to avoid as many fees as possible. But the majority of sales happen in store.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
I'm an online only seller, so it's a lot to list on different platforms and make sure everything is in like a specific like condition for it to be sellable.
That's the other thing I'll use eBay for is I'll wait till I have, like, when I buy collections of vintage Pokemon cards, if there's higher end cards in the lots that are damaged, like if there's holographic cards with scratches and creases, I'll wait till I have like 50 or 60 and put a damaged lot on eBay. Literally start it at 99 cents and just let it roll. And
that's smart.
It usually works out.
That's how you move product.
Exactly.
For sure. But yeah, bro, great store. And thanks for walking us through this. Honestly, it was an experience.
Yes,
the
sir.
store, I feel like it's not just a store, but it's an experience, right? Just many things to look at. You could play arcade machine game if you want. It's nostalgic. You hit what you wanted to do, right?
I appreciate it.
So when you walk in, someone else appreciating your hard work, especially doing it by yourself, which a lot of respect to you, dude. Because
thank you.
I sound thinking that overwhelms me personally.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, it's a lot. Don't get me wrong, it's a lot. But like I said, me actually enjoying what I'm doing helps for sure.
As it should.
And on top of the shop, you know, I got 2 little kids, I got a family, so yeah, it could be a lot, but it's good.
As it should, bro. And for those who are watching, where can they find you?
We are at 757 Main Street in Manchester, Connecticut. And then online, just Instagram, RetroJunkCT, and Facebook. And then Dustin's at Natural Selection on Instagram.
So guys, check both of them out. Phenomenal businesses. If that acclaim share is there after this month, it's mine. That is mine. But grab yourself a Flintstones.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, brother, I appreciate you, bro.
Likewise. Thanks for coming out.
Look forward to seeing you in future videos for sure.
I appreciate it, man.
So guys, that wraps it up. Nostalgia with Doshi. I'll catch you all later.